What is up, everybody? I'm Aslan Hajavandi. Who cares? Michael Langston is through that wall, everybody. He's a recruiting analyst for Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminoles sports source. This is the Warchant.com live recruiting chat with Michael Langston. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. We do highly advocate and emphasize that you should be subscribed to Warchant.com. It's the ultimate Seminoles sports source. It's only $10. It'll get you access from here up until kickoff practically for next season. What are you waiting for? The longer you wait, the worse the value is. It's only $10, though. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. It's the lower right corner. Just hit subscribe, hit the little bell. And then, Cole, what else, Michael?
Always hit the like button. I like that when you do that. So if you want one favor from me, just hit the like button and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Thumbs up. Sylvester the Tree says, thumbs up, everybody. Hit the thumbs up. That's his nose. Sylvester's my tree. He's got feet here, too. It's pretty cool. This chat is really cool. Thanks for being here, Michael. We know you have a really busy day tomorrow. Our coverage starts live here on YouTube at 8 o'clock in the morning. Michael, I just found that out about 10 minutes ago. So
Okay.
Hopefully you knew. But they're
Yes,
practicing.
I was aware.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if it's you and I at 8 in the morning, and then I'm going to go cover practice, and then Tom will take over, and then the Jeff Cameron show, and then we got a press conference. It's crazy, everybody. It's crazy. But we're going to have you covered front to back. You're ready. You live for this, Michael. This is your favorite.
Either way, I'll be here. I'll be here either way. So
right.
We'll see.
Without further ado, let's start this thing off, and let's start it officially off as a real true party. I know this guy. I met him at an event this past week over on campus. Jeffrey Larson, shout out to him. He drops $20 in the jar. Thank you, Jeffrey. He was very complimentary. And the most important thing, Michael, is he was very sincere. I could tell that he really did like all the stuff that you do, that Gene, Ira, Corey, Tom, Jeff, Austin, and myself do. Like, it was a real sincere appreciation. So you didn't have to give us Andrew Jackson, but we appreciate it. Thanks, Jeffrey.
Appreciate it.
Post a question or a query or there we go. He's got a question. He already did. He knows what to do. He followed it up. His question is, who's going to be the next portal edition in your professional opinion, Michael? Go Noles, go Warchant.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough to say who exactly. I don't think it's like before where I mentioned the 3 linemen. So I think certainly guys like Brandon Fiske is on my top of my list, and also Deuce Cypress are 2 guys that I'm kind of monitoring. Outside of that, I haven't heard like, oh, one's coming up or for sure going to happen. So if I was going to pick 2, those are 2 I kind of have my eyes on. I know John Campbell is another one, but as I mentioned before, they might be a little bit more selective to see what they want at that tackle position, because that would probably be the last, portal. If they do add a tackle, it'll be, certainly an offensive tackle. So I think that's kind of a wait and see. But those 2 guys are ones I've kind of got my eye on.
Who's the Cypress sweepstakes and the Fiske sweepstakes? Who is it between for those players, think, Michael?
Well, I think mainly it's mainly for Fiske. It's probably Notre Dame, FSU, and USC. Since go by principal obvious. You visited all 3 schools. I personally think it comes down to FSU and Notre Dame. That's just my gut feeling on. And then actually, kind of a segue to that. Brandon's supposed to call me tonight, so I should have possibly a story on him, coming up to kind of see where they're at. But I think those are the main competition. And then with Deuce, it's kind of more spread out because I've heard Georgia, I've heard Alabama, I've heard obviously he visited UCLA. We know he visited FSU. Ohio State's been a team that's rumored mentioned out there, but if you're going by the visits, UCLA and FSU have to be the teams that you circle. I think the quicker it gets done, or a quicker decision definitely favors FSU, because if it's UCLA, I gotta believe nothing against UCLA, but certainly what FSU does with DBs is certainly more attractive. Obviously, can stay in the ACC and all that stuff. So I think an earlier decision certainly benefits FSU. A later one where you go to January, you can have more visits, and then maybe that interest tampers off with FSU if he decides to do that.
All right. Travis Mighty Taylor. I called him Travis because I saw Travis on my screen. It's Taylor Mighty. Taylor Might.
Okay.
What was Travis Hunter teasing about on Twitter? I don't know if you're talking about Jordan Travis, Travis Hunter. Has anybody been teasing anything on Twitter that you're aware about with the name Travis, Michael?
I think he's probably referring to Jordan Travis saying I have a couple of surprises.
Oh, okay.
You know, that was like I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago. So um, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't read into that, guys. That's all. I mean, not saying that he doesn't know something, but I think you got to be careful of just not reading too much into. He's building excitement to what could be tomorrow for FSU, but I don't think there's any. I haven't heard any tips as far as people I know around Jordan, so I would be careful reading too much into that. I think it's more about excitement and stuff that's going on at FSU and building it up, and Jordan's been through the recruiting process, so he knows how to sell it. So maybe he knows something, but I haven't heard anything of what he knows.
All right. Right now, as we sit here and do the show live here on YouTube, Florida State's got 15 high school kids committed to them. Ryan Williams as over under 17 and a half, Michael. So do you see three or less than three guys that they'll add from the high school level on Wednesday?
I think it'll be over. I
Okay.
think it'll be over a little bit over. As far as that, I mean, I could see potentially up to four. Obviously, there's some that are close battles, so you certainly, but you got to hedge bets. But that's kind of where I would go.
All right. I'm sure someone's going to keep asking about this, but let's go ahead and try to get it out of the way now. But Samuel Armstrong, kicker. Can I do my Michael Langston impression? If they
Hmm.
get a kicker, it's going to be a PWO. Is that
It's
right?
perfect. That's perfect. I mean, I haven't heard anything about a scholarship kicker, and I understand how people with the season how it went. Certainly with Ryan, I get the feeling of why people bring that up. But as I point out many times, if you're getting a kicker, that means you're likely going to move on from Ryan. So I mean, usually only keep one scholarship place kicker, on your team. So odds are, if they go after a kicker, it's going to be somebody from the PWO. So to Samuel, I hope that explained kind of your question. But right now, I haven't heard anything scholarship wise for a kicker.
Anything to the Hakeem and Miami rumors? Asks Chris.
There's always rumors. You always get to the last 24 hours of rumors. Now, I don't think there's anything to it. I think I'm expecting Hakeem to sign with FSU tomorrow. That's been the. I checked on that many a times. Every other hour, I check on these things, and no, I don't buy into that.
Andrew Phillips. Any contact with Travis Hunter? How much does he want in NIL now?
I can't really speak on what he wants now as far as NIL. Is there any contact? I don't know if there's anything from the FSU side. I think there's maybe some with the NAL side, but I also curve that excitement because I personally think he's ended up at Colorado. That's where I feel he's going to go. I think this is all excitement to build up of going against top teams, and I think he'll end up at Colorado. But to my knowledge, there hasn't been a push from FSU or pursuit that I know of.
All right. Rob Rathbun's here, everybody. It's now a party.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Rob, just a $20 bandit. Boom. Here's the money. I'm out. No anything to say. We appreciate it, though, Rob. Hope you're doing well on this holiday season. We do appreciate it. Lots of people asking about Travis Hunter, so obviously that was a good thing that we got to it. Thanks to Michael. Who's going to be the first NLI that comes over tomorrow, do you think, Michael? Who's the first guy in?
That's a tough one because there's so many guys that are. I'm gonna go with us. I'll go with a surprise. I say Sam Singleton. I
Okay.
think he's going to send it really early. So I'm going to go. My pick would be Sam Singleton, but there's going to be a lot of them that turn it in early. But that's who my pick would be. But we'll see. But that would be my pick.
Have we offered a Marine?
I don't know. You
What
got
do
to
we
give
call
me.
it?
You got to give me more
Yeah.
than that, Cody. I kind of need a name. So need a little more than that.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Papa Sanders in the house, bringing $2 to the table. Thank you, Papa Sanders. Any pursuit of Jalen Catalan?
I haven't heard anything of that name. Right now. I think most of the guys I've covered on either on the nuggets or wraps or stuff. But I haven't heard anything with him yet.
All right. He's apparently an Arkansas defensive back who has entered the transfer portal not too long ago. So
Okay, I have
we'll
not heard anything with interest there yet.
This is probably a bit of a stretch, but maybe it's worth talking about. Smooth_Florida. Keldrick Falk not coming would mean what for this staff if he chooses a first-year coach at Auburn?
I don't think it you can really say anything. Oh, it's a first year staff. I mean, he lives in Alabama. I mean, he's been around Auburn football more than anything. Obviously, if he feels comfortable about the, where they're going and the coaching staff, then clearly, they just did a really good job selling. But let's not act like he hasn't seen Auburn. Let's not say act like he hadn't been around Auburn. If he did end up at Auburn, but like I said, right now that's very much up in the air what he's going to do yet until I hear otherwise. Just waiting to see. I'm waiting for one more call tonight. Just for people who are wondering, yeah, I'm going to put another type of wrap thing later tonight, just giving my view on hey where things kind of like what I did last night. Probably have to make some picks of which way I think it's going to go going into the morning. Doesn't mean it's automatically going to be that. It's just what I'm hearing that night. So I'll probably have something on that, and I'm sure we'll have more questions getting into the details of Falk. For people that want to ask, I'll certainly share what I'm hearing.
The poll is different at these states, but I'm telling you, folks, with the success that the SEC has had, if you're a kid from Mississippi, man, it's tough to say no to Mississippi State or Ole Miss unless Alabama or Georgia's knocking. It's tough to be a kid from Alabama and say no to Auburn or Alabama. Listen, man, Keldrick Falk wasn't getting a lot of attention from the in-state schools. And then now one of the SEC schools in that state that's got a pretty decent head coach is coming at you. It's an hour and a half away from where you grew up versus 3.5 hours from Florida State. Man, it doesn't say anything about Florida State. Just talks about geography and nature and how kids, if they can stay home closer to a program they're more familiar with, even though it's a new coach, they still know that town. Their family knows that town. All the people they go to school with are going there as well, man. It's one of those things, man. It's different. Same thing with Louisiana, man. It's tough to get kids to leave that state. So doesn't say anything about the staff.
Yeah, no, I mean FSU's done a tremendous job. They've done everything right. They've done everything as far as the product, the selling him on the relationships and the closeness and development. That's what Keltrick even told me when we talked the other night. He's like, "What is it about FSU development? I know I'm going to develop no matter. I mean, I know that for 100% fact." So he knows a lot of players on the team. So it ain't going to be anything that FSU's done. It's just he's been around Auburn, is like you just alluded to. If he goes there, that will be the reason. But I can tell you, based on what I checked on, I've been checking throughout the day on him. Auburn's not hearing anything. They've been kind of quiet there. On the FSU side, it's cautious confidence, but at the same time, they know, this could go either way. But that's what I have currently. I'm waiting. I've even reached out to Keldrick just to see if he does reach a decision. If he wanted to, reach out to me and reveal it, or if he just wants to post on Twitter, whatever he wants to do. But so I've constantly reached out to him, people around the FSU side. So I keep checking on this, but that's kind of what I have right now.
Trisha says she wants to help out tomorrow if she could and make us protein shakes, which, yeah, Trisha, I mean, I don't want to advertise my address, but yeah, I'll take a protein shake tomorrow. That'd be awesome. Thank you. Traditional is in the house. $20. Thank you. Traditional. Get it, everybody? Traditional. Warchant's come a long way. Have we, though? We've been at the top for a long. I mean, I haven't been here all that long, but Gene Williams has been at the top for a long time. So has Irish O'Fell. I know we've come a long way. I'll drop in the jar in a time of giving. Thank you. And I'm not even ringing a bell in your face, everybody. Michael, what about some names we, the fans, might not be hearing a lot, but you definitely are keeping a close eye on?
I don't think there's any ultimate surprises, if that's what he's asking. I mean, I think most of the guys I've covered, I would say maybe Andy Jean, who just visited last weekend. That's one I'm certainly keeping an eye on. Just give an update on that. I talked to my Florida contact, and they're like, man, it's super duper quiet. They haven't heard much. It's been very silent since he visited FSU, and obviously he declined an interview, which we expected that he would do when he was here. But I've heard a lot of positive things coming out how he felt that visit and how it was a connection of the offense. He loves he loves the stuff they're doing. And I think the other thing is Florida State knows who their quarterback is. They know that Jordan Travis is going to be their guy. I think with Florida, they're trying to figure it out from the portal, or maybe they turn it to Jaden Rashada. Their freshmen, if they decide to go that direction. So I think with FSU, there's a more stable situation of you at least know your quarterback, and then you also just did a great job of as far as selling what the product is, as far as what FSU is on the field. I think there's certain games where Florida just looked like, wow, like that's bad, and then Florida State for the most part has been one of the most consistent teams over those in-state teams. So I think Andy's certainly taken notice of that. What they do with receivers is certainly he's taken notice of that, and so I think I still think it's 50-50. I've leaned a little bit more towards Florida because that's the team he was committed to. So you still want to lean that way until you hear something from the FSU side that starts pushing you towards the other side. But I think it's close. I think even the Florida people, they think it's close. They could go either way.
Mafia Mike, any shot at Cedric Baxter, Mr. Lang?
No, I think he will sign with Texas. I think FSU gave it everything they could, but at the end of the day, I think Texas is where he's going to end up, where he's going to sign. So just squash that, get that out of the way. I don't expect them to be. I don't think there's any reason to monitor that one. I think he's going to Texas.
Yeah, especially with Bijan Robinson. That was a surprise, but yesterday officially announced that he's going to the NFL. Tom Mortner's here, everybody.
Dollar bills, y'all.
He says that Travis Hunter liked Jordan Travis's tweet, then unliked it. I think Michael might be wrong about Travis Hunter.
That's your choice. I mean, if you want to get burned with your heart, go ahead. I'm not going to fall in that category, Tom. I mean, I don't really. It's hard to believe anything Travis tweets or doesn't tweet or says. So, whatever he does is certainly his decision. But I just personally believe he ends up at Colorado. I would be surprised if he didn't, but I don't think it'll be FSU. I just don't. I don't envision that happen. And if it does, I'll certainly own up to it and eat crow and all that stuff. But I have not heard anything, so I can only go by what I've heard. So I can't go by what could happen or a like or a tweet or your retweet. I mean, I have to go by what I'm hearing from the ground. And right now, I haven't heard anything really as far as a heavy pursuit with FSU and Hunter. He could certainly end up at a place like Georgia or SC or maybe in Miami. But I mean, I've seen this story before, so I've experienced it. Certainly, what happened the day on signing day morning with Aslan and even Tom. So I can't envision that. Obviously, he grew up a fan. He says of Florida State, but like I said, when you keep everything a secret like that, and then you just pop it for Jackson State like that, anything's possible with Travis Hunter.
All right. That's a good question. You talked about there's been a premium and an emphasis on the staff to get interior linemen, but maybe they also want to tackle to get involved in it. Polo Kid wonders, what about Keonada Goodwin, who ended up at Kentucky, who's now in the portal that they flirted with last year?
I think if you want a portal tackle, you don't want one that's really young because that doesn't send the greatest message to Daughtry Richardson or Julian Armella, who you're really high on. I think you need somebody that's a experience like junior or senior that you can plug in there that gives you experience, but also doesn't alienate your young guys of what they're doing. You're just saying, look, we need more competition there. So I don't expect a pursuit from FSU with Goodwin. I think if he goes anywhere, I would say maybe Alabama, because that was kind of the two teams that I'd heard that he was between. He decided to, I think, stay closer to home and go to Kentucky, but I don't expect a pursuit there from FSU. But I think that's the kind of tackle that they're looking for, is somebody with experience and probably high in the years as far as a junior and senior that doesn't. You got to be careful how you add to your roster of how it affects the rest of your roster, and not that you're carrying like, oh, you're kissing kids' butts or whatever, but you have to be smart of how you attack and how you add guys. There's got to be a right addition to add certain guys.
Just want to put this on the screen because shout out, amen, brother Sam Knight. Why do people love not giving names of players when they ask questions? I don't know, Sam. If you figure out the answer, you let us know. We certainly would appreciate any sort of a theory into that. Scott Fells, good evening. 2 questions. Top 20 recruiting class this year, and do we keep Hakeem? They are currently 16th right now, Michael, in the recruiting rankings. Now, second in transfer portal, but 16 when it comes to conventional, traditional. Do they go higher than that? I mean, they stay there. I mean, it's hard to imagine they'll drop out of the 20 and then they keep Hakeem.
Yeah, I think they'll be in the inside the top 20. I feel. I mean, like I said, there's nothing new that I've heard with developments with Hakeem. I expect him to sign with FSU. I understand this is all part of signing day eve where you hear this stuff and pop, but I mean, there's been nothing that my on my radar that suggests anything other than him signing with FSU. But yeah, I think they'll be inside the top 20. They're 16 now. If you do what I think they probably do, adding like between 2 to 4 guys, you're certainly going to go up, and I would think they would be inside the 20.
All right. Our guy Gator Kirk wonders who's going to be an early enrollee. I assume all the transfer portal guys are showing up in winter, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Here we go. Hakeem is an early enrollee.
Yes, he is.
Okay, Keldrick, if he were to come.
Yes, he is.
Lucas Simmons.
I'm doing all these off the fly, guys. I'm not even looking at the board. By the way, Kirk, I'm gonna make it easy for you. If you go to the PRB, there's a pin thing that says in early enrollees and signings that tells you when they're enrolling and when they're signing. But I'll go through all these. I don't care. It's all good. Lucas Simmons, yes, he's supposed to early enrollee.
Blake.
I think Blake is supposed to arrive in the summer.
Okay.
I'm unsure on Sampson. I believe summer, but and then I think Lamont Green's an early enrollee.
Okay.
And
Jaden
I think
Jones.
and then Jaden arrives, I think, sometime in I think he told me January, so he'll be here. I think Singleton will be a summer guy. Jacobs is supposed to be an early enrollee. Unsure about Goldie Lawrence. I'm not sure what that one is. Brock Glenn, as most quarterbacks do, they'll be early enrollee. I think Kirkland is as well. Rawls will be in the summer, and I want to say Quindarius Jones is an early enrollee. And then DeMarco Ward, I do think will be an early enrollee too.
Oh, man, look at that. Just ripping through it, man. Langston just going off the dome, man. Love it. Love it. Love it. Let's see. We got lots of super chats coming through. Let's get to those. We appreciate those guys. Chris Morgan is here, everybody. He's the big shooter right now.
There you go.
There we go, Chris. Just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thank you for all of your hard work. Chris, not even a question, man. Come on, Chris, get involved, get in the mix, man. We appreciate that. Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. Tell him thank you, Michael.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate it. Obviously, we don't. It doesn't matter the amount. I mean, I appreciate any contribution you guys want to give. I mean, it's from the heart for you guys to do that, and we greatly appreciate it. We don't take it lightly, whether it's a team, video we're doing or a recruiting chat. I certainly appreciate it, and I know I speak for everyone on the Warchant staff that I say we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you being here, but we also appreciate the contributions.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Somebody was saying that a Miami insider, Rusty Dearman, saying Miami insider just said FSU for Hussey.
Okay.
Pretty cool, huh?
That wouldn't surprise me because this is his favorite school growing up, and I was going to get to him later. I talked to a Penn State contact, and he feels like I think last night they felt like he likely was going to stay, and then they felt later like, hey, it seemed to be they're going off that, and then my South Florida contacts felt like it was going to be FSU or Miami. He would stay in state, but like I said, he's really high on FSU. I think FSU has a really good sell job as far as what they do with their DBs and safeties. Miami's a program that's still trying to figure it out, but I'm not saying I'm leaning that way. I'd say slightly FSU if I was leaning, certainly, but I wouldn't say. I still think it could go either way. I'm still factoring in the intel a lot of different ways, but I haven't heard definitively that hey, it's going to be FSU.
Any worries with Brock? Wonders R. Wilmer.
Nope, he told me he was signing tomorrow morning at 7:30, and that's it. So, no. I mean, I understand people are going to ask questions about just about every damn person on here, so I get it. Whoever's a commit, you're going to ask about them because this is what happens on signing day E. People ask questions, hear rumors, and stuff pops up. So I get it, but I haven't heard anything with Brock that leads me to be concerned. Obviously, I track all this stuff, guys. So if I hear something that's uncertain or shaky, I'm certainly going to address it either on the boards or certainly here if I hear it. So just let you guys know that. So just keeping that real. But like I said, if there was something there, I would certainly already mention it. But I haven't heard anything yet or anything to be concerned with Brock.
Kevin Coleman Jr.
No.
Okay. I like it. There we go. That's all we need. Mark Sermons is here, everybody. Give it up for Mark Sermons one time.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Mark, I'm going to try to find your question. You usually drop the money, then you come back and post a question, but you just said happy holidays is all you did. I'll be on the lookout for a question. Thank you, Mark, man. We certainly appreciate it, man. It cannot be said enough just how awesome it is that we just do our job and you guys feel some sort of need to do that. That's awesome. It's incredible. M. Sins here. He brought some money with him, too. What are we doing, everybody?
Dropping.
What kind of avatar we got here? He's got like a sword around his waist. Look, sort of like steampunk outfit, metal brass, or is it an instrument? I don't know. Let us know, Emson. $10 he throws at us. Why in the portal rankings does it show Fentrell Cypress is an Ohio State lean when I have not heard of them as a player at all yet?
To my knowledge, I don't know how those things work. If that's like fans' predictions, as far as stuff, I don't know. It doesn't really give you an indication of if it's from an expert or somebody that covers, or if it's just fans. I think it's mostly fans, if I had to guess. So like I said, I wouldn't pay attention to a lot of these predictions for sure on these things. These are just people that, in my opinion, are putting stuff in. It doesn't suggest that there's a expert pick. So I would think it's probably from the fans when you see stuff like that with percentages. So that's the best way I can answer it.
Sam Knight, we'll get him up here because he had a good funny quip earlier. Do you foresee us going after any more defensive transfers, even if we land Fiske and Cypress? Or does it depend and hinge on what happens with Jared Verse and Jamie Robinson and their decision?
I think they still want a safety, regardless. So I think there will be a safety, that they go through the portal regardless of what happens. I still think they'd probably, take a safety. Although if Robinson comes back, then maybe that they have a different conversation. They check that, but I think they would like a safety. That's been the most drawn out position to me as far as in the secondary that they want to address is safety. Obviously, what happens with Verse, Robinson, and Lovett certainly is going to impact how many they take. Although I do think they take Fiske regardless, whether Lovett comes back or not. I still think they take him. Certainly the Tavion Gaston situation where they offered a gray shirt and obviously he opted something else and he's likely going to Kentucky. I think that certainly opened up a spot of them adding to the class. So I think either way Fiske will be in there, and then either way Cypress would certainly have a spot. But outside that, I think they probably want to add a safety. But the defensive end really just depends on what Verse does, in my opinion.
Remarkable consultant services, Leon Mark.
Okay.
Not sure what Leon can consult you on, everybody, but it's remarkable, apparently.
That's a long name.
Leon says it's unreal how Florida and Miami have a worse season than Florida State and have a higher ranked recruiting class. What are we doing wrong? No excuses. Well,
okay.
Well, Leon, real quick, man. This is what we got. We got to recognize, right? We got to recognize this one thing. There's this thing called the transfer portal, Michael, and there's team rankings for it. And right now, why is it? Sometimes it bumps Florida State down. Aren't they 2? Or I guess we're number 4 right now.
Yeah, I think Michigan added a few guys today.
Florida State's 4.
Okay.
I don't see Florida. I don't see Miami. I don't see Miami. I do not see Florida. Now these guys are ready made. They're coming in. They're going to take jobs. They're going to start games. They're going to play against LSU. I don't know how many guys on the other side of things are going to do it. It's going to take some getting used to, I guess, Michael. But guys, gals, we have to be acutely aware that, man, the transfer portal, these players are real and they're ready to go. And yeah, Florida State's 16th and they're behind Miami and Florida. But when you combine those two, man, they're right there, if not ahead of them. Anything else you'd like to add, Michael? I'm sorry, it's your show.
Well, I would address your thing. And you said no excuses. Okay, I will tell you straight up. Mario Cristobal and Billy Napier are both have heavy experience in recruiting the state of Florida. They're very good there. They did that with Napier. He did that with Clemson, and when he was at Alabama. So there's a lot of history and a lot of background of people that he knows and people in there. So they have a strong history, and both of them are really good recruiters. Mario obviously, played at Miami, so he certainly knows a lot of the area in state. So he does really well. And there's a buzz from the first year of going in state. You're going to get a lot of buzz. That's what Mario does. Does he coach well? Probably not what I've seen so far, but does he recruit well? Yeah. He's a very good recruiter. He's been a very good recruiter wherever he's been. Mike's had to kind of do it a little bit different where Mike had to show a winning product to win people over into what the program is now. So now there's more excitement. You're getting guys in there, getting kids in there that believe in what you're doing, and they believe, and that's how he's had to execute it. And he's filled holes with the portal where if there's a hole, you're looking for. My thing is, if you're sold on FSU and the way they develop players, and if you're sold on winning, if winning means more than you in a recruiting title, personally, I would think most fans will care more about winning. If you get like winning and you like development, I think that's what I look at as far as what's the best, and I think that's what FSU's excelled at. And certainly they're going the right direction. Yes, you want top 10 classes. I mean, that's good. But here's the thing, too. Even those top classes, remarkable, there's no guarantee that those kids are going to be there by the time you're ready to play them at a high level and starting. Those kids could go there 1 year and then leave. They don't have to stick around. They don't have to stay. They can leave anytime they want. If they want to leave and they didn't work it out, they can leave. So there's no guarantee. With the portal kids, those kids would have to sit out a year. So they're more apt to be enriched in the program. They're ready to show out there. They've gone through all the hoopla and process. So they're ready to go out there. And as Aslan pointed out, these guys are ready to roll. These guys are focused. They played. They're experienced. They're game breakers. They're ready to help you right now. So it goes both ways. Yeah, you would like to see them recruit obviously a top 10 class, but you also, for me, I think if you're an FSU fan, you want to see winning and development. I think those are the two biggest things that you want in the program. What you can do to win and what you can do to develop. Yeah, transfer portal is not something that's long term they want to do forever, but you want to have a great mixture. And right now it's portal heavy. I think later as these seasons go along, you'll see it more high school related, but you have to be careful with those high school rankings and just basing everything on how long those guys are going to be there.
Kyle, Charlotte, North Carolina. $10. Thank you, Kyle. He says he doesn't get too. He's a smart man. He doesn't get too excited about high school kids committing.
You shouldn't.
Smart man. He does get excited for Michael and Aslan going live.
Hey, they should. I like the way he thinks.
Thank you, Kyle. You're awesome, man. We appreciate the heck out of you, man. This guy's here, though. Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's go, man. He's here. Killer. What? It's Ray Pereira, everybody.
Wow, Ray. Straight from the dungeon.
Yeah, man. Dungeon crew in the house.
I hear you.
Thank you, Ray. Ray Pereira, pillar, granite, name etched upon it. Even he's got a tomahawk because he showed up at 2 events. First event as a pillar, you get your name on there. Then you start getting, you get these tomahawks next to your name. So he's going to add to it in Orlando, it sounds like. We'll be out in Orlando. Details forthcoming. But he says Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you, Aslan and Michael. Likewise, Ray, to you and your lovely wife. Michael, how many transfers do you think we sign at the end of the day? See you in Orlando, he says.
How many they sign?
They got 7 right now, Michael.
Yeah, how many they sign? I don't know for sure. I think they would like another few DBs. I think a lot of that too, Ray, is I can't really answer that question because I don't know if Fabian Lovett's coming back. I don't know if Jared Verse come back. I don't know if Jamie Robinson's coming back. So I can't really say the total amount, but I do know they want a safety. They would like a corner. Certainly, if those guys leave, it depends on defensive end. I could see them adding like 2 to 4 more.
Okay. I mean, I don't. Even if Fabian comes back, I still feel like you have to add another defensive line. I know you got Daryl Jackson. I guess we're forgetting about that. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
we're getting so caught up in all these offensive linemen they're signing that yes, you are losing Robert Cooper, but you're signing Daryl Jackson, so you're kind of filling in that vacancy, if you will. But I guess if you're going to lose Jamie, you want somebody to be able to fill in that role. Is Ventrell Strapper, is he more of a safety or a cornerback? Do you think, Mike?
I think he's corner.
Okay,
I think he's more of a corner.
So. Yeah, man, they got all these dudes. Hopefully they'll get more of them. So they got 7 right now. That number is going to go up, I would imagine, right, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you feel like they at least get 2 more, if not 3. So I think that's kind of where I sit from the transfer market. But like I said, a lot of this depends on what comes back and what doesn't come back. As far as dictating the total number of how many they sign.
Hey, look who's here, everybody. It's the guy. It's the Godfather. It's Ed Lemix. Let's give him some theme music, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Guys, this is a very special occasion. The Godfather himself has been kind enough to grace us with his presence. The Godfather. This is his damn house. He lives here. He sleeps 20 feet away.
Ed,
DeLuna Coffee, what a great Christmas present. DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Use the promo code WARCHANT15. Michael, do you need DeLuna hot chocolate? Ed wonders aloud.
Ed, you can send as much as you want. I did get your package, by the way, from that Gene gave me. But if you want to send some more, I'd love it. For people who haven't tried it, DeLuna hot chocolate. Whoo, man, stuff is it's definitely the thing you need right now, because I don't know where people are living, but in Tallahassee, it's getting a little chilly here. It's about to drop into I think 20 degrees this weekend. So yeah, you need that DeLuna hot chocolate, and yeah, Ed, I will take it, and I certainly appreciate the first one you sent through. So appreciate it, bud.
Rob Rathbun was enjoying your angst a little bit earlier when you were on one of your tirades there, which I think we all enjoyed. I think Kevin spoke for all of us when he said salty Michael Langston is my favorite Michael Langston.
I just like to call it directly, guys. I think sometimes we fall in love with high school recruiting, and we kind of lose fact of what you add on the roster and what you do with the roster, and developing them is also just as important as just getting some really talented high school kids. A lot of times it's like you can't base everything on just high school recruiting. And nowadays, it used to be, man, when you did it, it's like, man, if you did top 10 class, it's like, okay, you're in good shape. But now with the portal and NIL, that stuff is coming less and less important compared to what you can get from the portal. Say you got a Jaheim Bell, a guy like that. It could just change your roster really fast and quick. And what I like when you go in the portal is when you get multiple year guys. That's the one that I kind of like. But I get it. I know high school recruiting, a lot of old school people, but I would just be careful how much place you put on that, because now with high school recruiting, like I mentioned, you can leave anytime you want. So there's no guarantee those guys are going to play their career there.
I wanted to pop this one up here. Yeah, Ed was asking if we think Jamie Robinson stays. I don't. He's out there practicing, though. He's taking it seriously. But I think when you accept the Senior Bowl invite and you tweet about how excited you are for the Senior Bowl invite, I think that means like you're pretty set on leaving. But it's my opinion.
I mean, the thing is, somebody's got to eventually leave, right? Right, Aslan? I mean, can't everyone come back, right? You would think so, but yeah, I think Aslan's point is very well merited. It's just, most of the time when you accept that, they leave, but until he says something, we're in limbo.
Brandon Walker dropping $5 in the jar, not saying a word. Silent assassin.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Thank you, Brandon. That's very kind of you, man. Happy holidays to you and yours. Tom Mortner's back. He just wanted to tell Ingvar out in Russia Merry Christmas. So there you go. Ingvar, Merry Christmas, man.
Dollar bills, y'all.
We're rolling, man. We appreciate it. If you guys get the thumbs up, too, that'd be really cool. We would appreciate if you hit the thumbs up, too, as you're watching us here. Ray, kind of just underscores his super chat, which is saying we need more defensive transfers.
I agree.
I think now Florida State fans, Michael, are at the point where they believe in what Mike Norvell can do offensively. They believe in Alex Atkins and what he does, recruiting, developing, coaching up these guys. I mean, this offensive line was really good, man, at the end of the season. Jordan Travis had a pretty cool job being able to play quarterback for this school behind that kind of offensive line. And you think about the defense, which statistically was lights out, man. I mean, defensively, they were like top 20, I think, in most major categories, scoring, offense, total, yards allowed, things like that. But man, you kind of think to yourself, if they can just get the Fentrell Cypresses and use him to patch things, and they get a Braden Fiskey, man, I don't know if you're there with me. I don't want to get too drunk on Kool-Aid, man, but you go from this conference is up for grabs to I'm looking at the schedule. It's got North Alabama and Southern Miss and Duke and Pitt and Virginia Tech. And I'm like, man, if we get all those guys on defense, maybe we can sneak in and be one of the top 4 teams at the end of November.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is you got to look across the board. Look at what has happened with Jordan Travis in his game, of how much that is involved under this staff. Look at what the staff did with the running back position. Look what they've done there. Look at what they look like at receiver, as far as developing some of these other guys. The guys are getting better each year when you watch them. Offensive line, they're better every year. It's improved every year. That was an atrocious position before FSU, before Atkins got there. And then on defense, you start plugging these right guys in there, and you saw them, as you mentioned, Aslan, lights out. I mean, they were getting pressure. They were forcing turnovers. They weren't perfect. They had their situations, but they were certainly attacking what their strengths of their team were, and certainly, they added some additions that were key holes that they wanted to fill, and that it really helped them, turn around this program and make them extremely effective. So that's why I go back to, you want development more than anything. If you're having development in your team and you have talent to develop, whether it's high school or portal kids, I think it's still the same. It's about what you get out of the guys when they're there, and what the buy-in and what you're doing. I mean, I think that's what a lot of us saw, from the start of the season, again, the LSU game, and that's what you're looking for. Do you care more about winning, or do you care more about just, hey, on paper, we got some nice, talented players? You want to see, I think it means more when you see more development throughout the team, and I think they've shown that.
I mean, look at them. Defense, I mean, they, on average, outgained their opposition by nearly 170 yards, and they outscored their opposition by nearly 17 points. I mean, these are huge gaps. You almost kind of wonder, like, man, can they keep this up? And you look how the defense played. It might be one of those things where you just feel like, man, with Jordan Travis, if you put more pressure on him to outscore the other team, you might be fine, even with the defense that you have now, and what you think might be coming back. So I'm not too worried about the defense. And I get everybody, though. You all want an elite defense. You deserve it. You might not have it, but let's enjoy what we do have, because golly, it was so bad for a while there, a little bit ago. Skylinks 121. Why has there not been more coverage on Jordan Hall? Thought he had an upcoming visit to Florida State, Michael.
That's news to me, Skylinks. I didn't know he had an upcoming visit. In fact, he limited FSU probably, I want to say, several weeks ago when he came up with the top 6. He did visit FSU, surprisingly, but I think he popped in for the Florida game. But outside of that, he never said an official visit. I think the focus was on, in my opinion, Georgia, LSU. Florida was also mentioned in there, but I think he's going to pick Georgia. So I don't think there's really been any coverage needed for Jordan Hall, because he didn't give us a reason to cover him. I think he's going to Georgia, and that's pretty much the end of it.
Shout out to Miss Gordon, Sandra Gordon, grandmother of James Williams.
Yes.
I don't know if you set the transfer, or not the transfer, but the recruiting radar yet. But thank you, Miss Gordon. We appreciate it. I can't see the super sticker, but everybody else at home can.
Looks good.
I'm sure it looks beautiful. I'm sure it looks
awesome.
Taylor Mighty's back. Biggest flip you expect tomorrow, Michael?
You'd have to say, I wouldn't say I expect. I'd say more I'm monitoring would be probably the Conrad Hussey one. I think that's a possibility. Certainly that's high up on my radar. I think the guy we don't mention enough is Cam Robinson. I think he's still really torn of figure out which way he's going to go. FSU's the more productive team. He sees what they do with their linebackers. That's attractive to him, especially with several of those guys leaving. He knows he can move his way in there and certainly have the same similar impact for his future. So I think he's still trying to figure that out. I do think it's either Virginia or FSU. I know South Carolina visits, so that would surprise me if he decided to pick South Carolina. But I think that's one that I'm certainly seriously monitoring. So I'd say more monitoring than expecting. I haven't heard anybody that's for sure like coming to FSU without question. But those are a few of the guys that have in mind as far as flips and stuff.
Gator Kirk is here, and he brought some dollars with him, which we appreciate.
Dollar bills, y'all.
What happens first? Gator Kirk wonders. Michael says Travis Hunter commits to Florida State, or he calls Gator Kirk Gator.
Well, you're not going to trick me because if I say what you just said, then I would be saying the word Kirk. So I'm not going to say that. So I'd probably go with Hunter.
Dane Jensen is here. He drops $5 in the jar. Thank you so much, everybody. This is so awesome, man. I can't tell you how much we appreciate the heck out of this sort of stuff.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Michael, what do you think it's about Florida State's message that seems to be more attractive for transfers compared to high schools when it comes to Mike Norvell and what they're doing out there?
Well, I think the easy answer and the obvious one, I would say first off, is what their production is of what they've done. When you see that, I think it goes back to development. These transfers, they have gone through the process, so they're seeing who has developed what. I mean, you see the backs that are developed, the running back. You see the players that were developed. Certainly that FSU already had there, like for Jermaine Johnson. And two, they sell them on a real genuine. This is what we are. I mean, that's what they do. They're not, hey, come here. It's all going to be fun, and we're going to kick butt, and it's going to be. No, it's like this is what it's going to be. There's no. I don't think there's like a pitch. It's more just hey, this is what we do. This is what we see you doing. This is how we feel like what you can be, and with your time here. And I think that's kind of the pitch if there's any. But I think a lot of their strongest advantage is just I don't think there's too many schools that can say they have the advantage that FSU has as far as production. You look at it across the board: Johnny Wilson, Trey Benson, leading rusher, even Jordan Travis is a transfer, from Louisville. So everyone's been productive, or a lot of these guys have been productive. So I think that's the biggest selling point, Dane. If I had to pick one thing.
Stephen Batain or Baden. Sorry, Stephen. I tried. Who's the safety that you like, Michael Langston?
I like Conrad Hussey out of high school, so that's certainly one I like a lot. That would be a massive pickup for FSU. From the portal, I haven't seen one that just I've either heard FSU's going after or are pursuing yet, and I think that's a to be determined thing. Where I think you could see them bringing in some guys in January. I think that heats up in January, in my opinion. That you really get some guys because you still have till mid-January to get guys in there. So I think I'm waiting to see on some names or hear some names from the FSU side of things of who they're pushing and going to pursue. But certainly the guy jumps out to me is certainly be Hussey. I mean, he is just he would be a great fit for FSU, and the way he's ball hawking, his hands, the way he tracks balls. I think he would be perfect for FSU.
Look at that. They got Sam McCall as the number one available safety out there. That's very interesting. Yeah. Shout out Polk County. Neighborhood bro Dino. What up, Dino? What up, bro? Defensive backs you feel good about signing?
I feel good. They're going to get Edwin Joseph. I feel good about that one. That's kind of the main one I see. I think the Brown brothers will probably go to Miami. I think Devontae already committed to Miami, and then I think DeMario will probably follow him. I kind of felt that if you got one of them, I think they would trickle over to the other one. So I think Edwin Joseph for me is the guy. I think they're likely to get him. And then, I'm slightly leaning towards Hussey with FSU. But like I said, I got to do a lot more calls and digging before we get to Wednesday. But I definitely think that's a possibility. But outside of that, I think those are I would say the main ones right now. I think there's also Isaac Smith out of Mississippi, but I just feel like he's going to end up at LSU. But those are kind of the two that I've got it circled.
ATL Noles, $10, folded up, nice and tight in the jar. Thanks, big guy.
Dollar bills, y'all.
I don't even know if you're a big guy. You might be a woman. You might be petite. You might be slender. You might be an athletic fit. Anyhow, we appreciate it. Michael, seems like 24, the high school recruiting will be where we finally take stride. Any stud prospects that are not committed that we should keep an eye out for in the future here? Go Noles, coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah, I think there's a lot, and I'm going to do a hot board for that right after signing day. So it'll probably be Thursday or Friday. I'll hope to get one side of the ball done, and I think there's certainly a lot in there. I want to say Chance Robinson's one that they're very high on from St. Thomas Aquinas. James Madison's another from St. Thomas Aquinas. So I will go through all of them. I don't want to sit there and list everybody because there's so many guys that I'll have to go through position by position. But um, I have, I like how this is trending towards FSU with going into that 2024 class. I think it's going to be a top 10 class. I feel very good because now you're not talking about, hey, are you getting there? You're already there. Kids see it. The buzz is real. I think it's going to be a really good class. I think it's going to be, their best class they've had so far. And I like the classes they've already put together, especially this year. But I think 24 is going to be to a new level where it's going to be easier to sell what you're doing. But ATL, I will break that down. I will certainly break that down right after signing day. I'll do a hot board.
Reliable resellers. What are your thoughts on the whole 5-star ranking system, Michael? Is it in need of an overhaul?
Well, I think the ranking system needs to combine, which I do like that On Three ranks the transfers. I think that's good. I like how they rank the team and stuff. But I think that should be combined into your high school because that's part of your class. So I think you should find a way to put the point system in there of what you do in the transfer portal because that's just as important as it's still recruiting. So I think we got to find a way to add that in and just as far as 5 stars, it's opinions. So I mean, some people think guys are 5 stars, some people don't think a guy's 5 star, but I think my biggest complaint is really you got to figure out a way to if you're doing this and you're taking to the next level, you got to figure out a way to add that transfer rankings into the overall class ranking so it affects that so you get the full effect of what your class is. Because that's the thing. If you look at this class and you're like, if you look at these transfers, you're like, okay, FSU 16, you get those guys that they have coming in. You have, Bell, who's in the top 10. You have Byers, who's in the top 7. You have several other guys in there that are top guys. And you add that in, that class is probably around 11 or 10, or around that mark. So it changes your ranking, I think, where you're going.
All righty. Anthony Galloway. What's up, Anthony? Thanks for being here, man. We appreciate that, as well as the $10, man.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Thank you, Anthony. Michael, where would you rank Florida State recruiting if you include the transfers and these high school recruits? He would say at least top 10. Again, a reminder for everybody at home, they do have the transfer portal team rankings, and
Yep.
Florida State currently now is ranked 4th in that, and then they are ranked, I think, 15th or 16th right now when it comes to the conventional high school kind of recruiting. So, you combine those two, you put 15 and 4, that's 19. You divide it by 2, that's 8. So that's a top 10 class. I do hope that's the next thing on the horizon for sure.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't got a problem with the star. I like the star ranking. I
I do
almost
too.
feel like you shouldn't have as many 5 stars. I think you really should limit it to no more than 20. But I
Right.
do hope they're able to merge and kind of marry together both of these so you have a real kind of idea. But right now,
And that's
go
a
ahead.
full part. That's a full part of the class, and I agree with you. Lesser 5 stars are better because that's elite of the elite. You want to make sure you have less in there as much as you can, 15 to 20. But I think my biggest complaint would be you got to. I mean, it's a new world, guys. You got to combine the transfer rankings with the regular rankings in high school, so you're getting a full breakdown of the class in general.
Again, so Florida State 4th in the transfer portal right now, 16th in the conventional traditional rankings. So I think we all can agree, Anthony, that this is a top 10 class, man. Even if a Keldrick Falk flips, maybe let's say Connor Housey doesn't show up. I mean, again, what they've done in the portal, you're going to have 2 new starting guards from what you've got, probably Jeremiah Byers and Casey Roddick. You're going to have new tight ends, probably better than what you've had in a long while, and Jaheim Bell, Kyle Morlock.
Yep.
You got a guy that's going to fill in the role of a guy like Robert Cooper, maybe not necessarily Robert's role, but a guy that you can plug in on the defensive line. I mean, those are who can say that, man. Who how many classes are filled with kids from high school that are going to start at guard next year for their team? Maybe that kid will be better in 2025 than what Florida State has, but we're in the here and now. We got Jordan Travis for one more year. We got to strike it while we do.
See, that's the thing with me. It's like I'm good with a top 13, 12, top 12, around that range of high school class, as long as you got top guys in the portal class as well. I mean, if you have that, I'm good with it. I don't need to see a top 5 class to know that they're doing the right things.
Yeah, man. Like, let Jeremiah Byers and Casey Roddick hold down the fort next year so that, Kanaya Charlton and Bryson Estes can be ripping and roaring and going in 2024. So let's not lose sight of that. Steven is back, and I ruined his name. I'm not going to even try to say it again, but thanks for coming back and throwing Abe Lincoln at me, man.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Expert opinion, Michael. Jared Verse, Fabian Lovett, Johnny Wilson. What are they waiting on?
I don't know. I'm not really calling them to find out, so that's more team related. But maybe they're waiting for just to finish the season, then they can focus on doing their decision. I don't know. I can't say what's on their mind or read their mind or what they're specifically waiting on. I would say that would be my opinion, but I would say just be patient with it, and I'll just throw it out there. I would not be surprised if a few of those guys come back, or one or two, or it would not surprise me.
Fabian is interesting. I do wonder what he is waiting on. Again, he's another guy that accepted the Senior Bowl invite, but hasn't really mentioned anything else about his plans.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think Johnny comes back, but I think Johnny's leaving the door ajar. And, Corey and I disagreed about this on Wake Up Warchant, the daily podcast that we do that you always can listen to. There's maybe a longer-term concern about Johnny's consistency with catching the football. But, man, if Johnny's on the cusp right now of like 600 yards receiving. So if he goes out and has like 120 in the bowl game, catches 7 passes for 120 and 2 touchdowns, like there's buzz that's generated from that. And I know it's just one game, but I think if he has a really good bowl game, he might be like, man, that's a pretty good one to go out on. And I think maybe Jared Verse has some of that feeling too, if he can go have a good bowl and get some TFLs and maybe a sack or two. Like, all right, I've put together what I can. But, man, last I saw, Todd McShay or Kuiper had him slotted to go 30th overall, man. He's mocked as a first-round pick, which is, you wonder why he is waiting if you got that sort of, notoriety already. But, again, man, you're not guaranteed to be a first-rounder. You've played hurt most of the year. And if you can get 6 figures from a collective to come back and run it back and be healthy next year, I mean, you might go from potential first rounder to potential top 15 pick. So I think there's a little bit of that involved. But again, man, that's the margin for error. It's much more likely Jared Verse comes back and doesn't have a good enough season than him coming back and being even better than he was and building off of it. It's possible, but that's a really tough sort of hole you're trying to thread there.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
I was just going to say I agree. That's all. I mean, you're good.
Trying to stop talking so you can talk.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Dane Jansen throws $2 in the jar. How much to keep Coach Atkins around long term?
I mean, I don't think he's leaving unless it's a really good, solid head coaching job. I think he's very happy what he does. I don't think anybody's going to entice him as an offensive line coach or an offense coordinator to get him to move from FSU. That's my perception. I think he's very happy with FSU. He loves it there. He even joked one year when he was there earlier this year. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. I know my ass is going to be here. That's what he told me one day just passing by. But I think he's very happy. I think certainly FSU is very happy with him. I don't think there's anything you can do long term if he gets the right head coaching job, Dane. If my thing has always been the same. Enjoy Alex while you have him, because he's going to be a really good head coach, in my opinion, down the line. Maybe 2 years. That would be my guess and my prediction. But I just say the same thing. Enjoy him while you have him, because he's a great dude, and the things being around them, I see these coaches all the time. Alex is that kind of energy. He's a great dude. He's a great guy to be around, and I see why he does so well in recruits and why the players love him so much. But as I said, just enjoy him while you got him.
Right on. Right on. Sam asks, Michael, how do you compare high school recruiting to transfer portal recruiting? Or do you enjoy covering one more than the other?
I personally prefer. I kind of like that the transfer portal recruiting is in there now, because it's like before. It's like these high school kids can dictate kind of what's going on, whereas like you're not, being held hostage almost, where if you don't get this guy, there's no other option. You actually have an option. And if you want somebody and you need somebody to play right away, then the portal recruiting is for me. I like it a little bit better. I personally like portal recruiting better just because I think you know what the product is of what you're getting already. I think with high school, it's still. I think with high school, it's a wait and see. Sure, you got a Hakeem Williams in there, and you got certain guys that are elite, but I kind of prefer the instant impact with transfer portal guys. But I'm still old school. I love high school recruiting. I love guys getting to be able to achieve their dream and go where they want, whether it's FSU or somewhere else. But I think they're kind of, for me, it's similar to the way they talk. I think obviously high school kids are more open to talk. I think with portal kids, it's more of a grind that you have to use different angles and different ways of contacting them. But I think they're both good. I mean, I can't really pick one of the. I just prefer transfer portal. Maybe it's the new thing, and that's why I like it. I don't know. I just kind of I really like it. It's just no nonsense, straight to the point. Bam, let's get it done.
We're impatient as a species, man, and the transfer portal doesn't make us wait long. The kid says he's interested. Michael calls me, "Hey, man, you interested? Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow." Cool. He shows up the next day, and then 2 days later he commits. So it's a pretty cool sort of process. Joshua Peoples, the People's Champ. A little cynicism out of Joshua. 2 questions. Why did we give up on Desmond Ricks? Why are we struggling with recruiting defensive backs, rather?
Well, I mean, I think they look good for Edwin Joseph, and I feel they're the leader for. I think I would lean more towards Conrad Hesse. I think both of those guys are DBs, and so I'd kind of wait and see what they do. I think they got 2 really good gems in Quindarius Jones. I love that kid. I think he's going to be a star. People are going to love him. I'm very high on Jabril Rawls too. I think that kid has some of the best cover film you've seen that I've seen out there. That those are really good players. I think they're good ones. As far as Desmond Rick, I'll just say I'll just shoot this indirectly. Your focus can't be like your number one focus can't be NIL. So if your focus is the number one is NIL, I don't think it's going to work out for you in FSU, because it isn't that they covet guys. There's coveted for NIL with FSU, but there has to be other things that drive you besides NIL. It can't be just NIL being the number one thing, and that's what I think happened with Desmond there, who, by the way, I think ends up at LSU.
Yeah. He's probably pretty. He's going to be pretty good. He's going to be pretty
He's a good one. He's good.
Let's go back to North Carolina. Let's go to Thomasville. Our guy Daryl, Captain D _63. Michael, after signing day tomorrow, will February signing day have any relevancy?
Not much for FSU. I mean, if you followed it last year, Daryl, I don't think we really did anything as far as in the February signing day. I think it's being replaced by the early one. And guess what? Eventually, February is going to be non-existent. You know why? Because you have portal. You have to get the portal done. So if you don't do it then, if you don't get your decision done by December, it's like, man, you might not have a spot. So I think it's going to be more and more where you see kids signing early, kids committing early, and February is just going to be non-existent. So I just think at the end of the day, eventually February is just going to be non. It wouldn't surprise me if eventually it said, hey, you know what? December's the signing day, and that's it. I could see it eventually hitting to that point. It feels like it's trending that direction.
All right. CHJ229. Michael, with all this recruiting knowledge you drop on us, when do you have time to take a break?
It's difficult. certainly during heavy recruiting season. But I will be taking a break tomorrow. After tomorrow, once everything's wrapped up, I will certainly get a little break and actually do some Christmas shopping. I haven't done any Christmas shopping, so I'm probably going to go on Thursday. In between of working on the hot board, I'll certainly do that. But it's difficult, but that's part of the job. I've been doing it for 22 years, so I know what the deal is. I know what I signed up for. I know what goes in entails for this stuff, and I know how people live and breathe this stuff. So it's just part of the grind, and I love it. If I didn't love it and I have a passion for it, I wouldn't be doing it, guys. I wouldn't have this much energy to do it, and certainly I love what I do. I give you guys everything I have. There's never a time I don't give you everything I have as far as what I bring. So that's why I do it, and that's why the sleep and being tired doesn't really affect me that much. But you keep going, and certainly. But I will take a break right after signing day tomorrow.
Wrapping things up here, if you could hit the thumbs up button, folks, we certainly would appreciate it. Marcus W. Michael, I'm assuming he's asking about Vandrevius Jacobs or the Florida flip, which would, I don't know if he's asking Vandrevius versus Andy Jean, who's better?
Yeah, I think he's asking who's better. I think they're two different receivers, though, Marcus. I think Vandrevius is more of a guy that you use in the slot, and I think Gene is more of an outside guy. I think they're both good. They're both big time speed. I think they both have big speed. I like Jacobs a little bit more as far as what he does in space, but Gene's really good with that too. I know some people had asked about Andy Jean, what's going on there. I talked to Corey Bender a little bit, and he's kind of like, man, I don't know. I mean, it's been quiet. I mean, I've heard stuff like he hasn't been talking to the Florida staff as much, and he's been really quiet, and the phones have been quiet. I still, like I said, there's a longer relationship with Florida as far as being around the whole year. But like I said, he's very intrigued by the FSU offense and very intrigued with what they're doing. So, and he's a South Florida kid, man. Those kids, it's like there's going to be drama with some of them, but I think I think with Andy Jean, he gives you a lot of speed, which is why FSU so attracted to him. But he's a guy that he can do some nice things in space. I like what he does after catch as far as initial contact. So personally, I would go with Jacobs. I just like Jacobs a little better because Jacobs got speed and Jacobs is really quick in space. I love guys that are good in space. Like you can't teach that stuff to what you do after the catch. It's like when you have guys that can do stuff after the catch, that's just unique to me. So I would slightly have Jacobs a little higher.
All right. Shane Jameson wonders, are there any linebackers we're hoping to get through the portal, Michael?
I don't think so because all their starting linebackers are coming back. DJ Lundy's coming back, Bethune's coming back, Kalen Deloach is coming back. They do need depth back there, and I think that's where it comes in with I think that's where it comes in where you would like a Cam Robinson because then that equals your depth. You also have Omar Graham, who I'm very high on. I think he's going to make a definitely a big jump from from last year. So I think they really just need another linebacker from high school. I don't think you necessarily, and I think it's going to be really hard to convince a portal kid to come to FSU when you have three starters that are the same guys there. And I thought that unit did a pretty good job.
Man, I can't believe Justin Flo is the number 9 linebacker out there in the portal. Man, that kid was like can't miss.
Yep.
Tom Ortner is back. Michael, do you expect a top 10 class next year?
I do.
Which is tricky. I mean, if we combine it with the portal, probably, but in terms of high school, just pure high school kids, Michael, top 10 next year, you think?
I think the buzz will be a little higher because right now I'm thinking this class could finish around, I would say 14, 13 maybe. If you get a few bounce your way, maybe 12 at the highest. So I definitely think it's going to be a higher thing with next year in 2024. I think you're already off to a great start. Yeah, Luke Cromahoke, who I love at 4-star quarterback, and then you also have Cam running back, Cam Davis, who's I think one of the best running backs out there, and I think they put in this class together really strongly as far as already making an impact. And I think they're really going to piggyback off this recruiting momentum going to 2024 once January hits. I've heard there's going to be a junior day in that month, so they're really already itching to take advantage of this momentum. They don't want it to let it dry and get stale. FSU is going to be on it, so I think FSU is. I think they definitely will have a chance to be a top 10 class next year. I think they will.
That was a really good question to go out on and wrap it up and be like, all right, man, we thank you, everybody, for being here. Well, then Joel Davis is like, I want to party, man.
Oh my God. All right.
What?
Got some good gifts coming for you, Diane. We're about to get some shopping money.
My goodness, Joel Davis. This is for Michael to go shopping with. Absolutely. Absolutely. Joel Davis, he's a pillar. His name is here. He's got a tomahawk by his name, or maybe he's on the backside of it. Joel, you crazy wild man. Say something besides just throwing money at my face, big dog. Appreciate the heck out of you, though. Golly. So does the university, everybody. Joel Davis is not just a pillar for this show. Joel Davis is a pillar for Florida State University. Believe that. Believe that. You're the man, Joel. Thank you. Shout out to him. All right, we can't leave now, man. We got too much buzz. Too much buzz going on here.
It's hard to, and somebody drops 200, it's hard to just leave, right?
I can't just. Dax Powers wonders, will we see more portal action, specifically linebacker defensive line targets, once the playoff teams are done, do you think?
I think DL, it really depends on, whether Verse comes back. If Verse comes back, I don't sense them really pushing in that direction hard. But I've already mentioned defensive tackle. Whether Lovett returns or not, they still want Fiske, because that tells me they could still be active with other guys. You'd add another. So I could see some activity at defensive tackle. As far as the other positions, I'm not sure, but that's kind of how I feel with the defensive line.
Our guy Kyle was wondering, what is the youngest the staff would offer a kid? Would they offer an 8th grader?
I've seen it done before. I've seen them offer an 8th grade. I think they offered Carlos Thomas when he was in 8th grade. That's kind of the youngest, but most times
it's Carlos Thomas. Carlos Williams?
Yeah, Carlos Williams.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. But I've seen them do that. But most of the time it's usually like freshmen. That's kind of the usual, target date of when they offer usually.
Okay. No, we won't ask that. We're not scared of Miami. We're not scared about Miami. Lamar Clark wonders about Ajayi Harrell. Is that a dude?
That's not a name I've heard, to be honest. But I'll look into it, Lamar. I have not heard that name yet.
Mainland, Daytona Mainland. He does.
Oh, I knew that name would sound. Yeah, he's the kid, the running back. No, they don't need a running back. They're good. They got like $1 billion. Yeah. So they're all set. I mean, I think he's running back / receiver, but no, I think the main receiver they're after is Andy Jean. I think that's really it.
That's uncommitted. That is, they're happy with who they also have committed.
Right,
as well.
Exactly.
How confident are we right now as we go out here? Keldrick Falk, Michael.
Still 50-50, guys. I would slightly, maybe. I teeter every hour. It's like I feel like 1 hour I'm like FSU a little bit, and then another hour I'm Auburn. I'm going to hit my contacts up right after I get off this, guys. But I think it go either way. On one sense, relationships, FSU has a major advantage, I feel. Development, he knows that at FSU he's going to be developed. I think scheme-wise, FSU is going to use him more as a pure defensive end. I think, Auburn, you don't know what they're going to run since it's a new staff, but it's still close to home. It's the state of Alabama. It's Auburn. It's a popular school, and you got in-state pressure, and Aslan knows how real that pressure is to stay home. So that's what makes me go back and forth 50-50. I said usually this doesn't work out for FSU, in the past, but I think I just think it could go either way. I mean, I hope I have a definitive answer for you, Joshua, later tonight. I can post something, but that's kind of my feeling on, like I said, I go back and forth on which way I think it's going to end up, but I think I should know an indication sometime tonight, and I'm working the phone, so I'm hoping to get something late tonight when I post, kind of where things stand going into, the class of, going into tomorrow for signing day.
All right. So quick hitters before we go. I
Okay.
mean, Michael's, I don't want to talk for you, Michael, but Michael doesn't really like to comment about guys that are not in the portal.
Right.
Marvin Jones Jr. is not in the portal yet, but do you have any news on Marvin Jones Jr.?
No, no. Until he enters the portal, I don't really have any news. Like I said before, if he enters, I think that will be very interesting. I think FSU will be a team to kind of really watch.
Fentrell Cypress, what's the latest on Fentrell? I mean, he was here this weekend. Is he going elsewhere? Was it UCLA and Florida State? Is there somebody else in the mix? What are we waiting for?
I mean, if you got to go by who he's visited, it's UCLA, FSU. I hear Georgia and Alabama in there. I know the rumor team is Ohio State, but he hasn't really visited or done anything with them. And then I think he said some interesting things at the visit. He said like he didn't say like, "Hey, I'm going to this school. I'm going to take a lot more visits." He didn't even comment that he would take any more visits. It was kind of like, "Hey," it's almost an indication that, "Hey, I might be going into decision mode." So that's why I'm kind of monitoring. I think FSU is active with him. They're certainly talking. There's some buzz around FSU regarding how things went, and there's almost like a extreme cautious confidence of how well it went. But as far as the decision, I don't know when that is eventually going to pop. But everything you wanted to see, if you're an FSU fan, of what he said after the visit was dead on what you wanted to see. You didn't want to hear about, hey, I'm going to visit other schools. You didn't want to hear about like, hey, I'm going to decide in January. You wanted to hear like, hey, I got to really think this thing over, and that's kind of what you were looking for. Like you could tell, talked about how he sees himself there. So yeah, there's some real juice there with FSU. So we'll see if if it was enough, down the line to make a decision in either late December or January, or be, hey, nice Christmas present, wouldn't it? Everyone
Yeah.
like that Christmas present.
People sneaking in here at the buzzer. Ken drops 2 American doll hairs, which thank you, Ken.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Fentrell ? Just answered it. Travis Hunter, probably not happening, Ken. So
Probably not.
but thanks for tuning in. People keep asking questions. We have to go home.
Wife's got to make dinner, or I got to
Yeah.
make dinner.
Shoot, I'm hungry. All right, and then last one, no Patel, but by the way, probably Keldrick Falk. If they lose anybody tomorrow, I would think it'd be Keldrick Falk. Mike,
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. If they lose
right.
anybody, it'd be him.
No Patel. What's Warchant's schedule on updates look like for tomorrow? We will be live. It looks like 8 a.m. to noon.
Yep.
Myself, Tom Lang, Michael Langston, some combination of that, and then I will have to go to campus and cover the practice. And then the Jeff Cameron Show will be live 1 to 3 o'clock. They will keep you posted on everything that's going on. I'm sure Michael might have to do a hit, come in on that if needed. And then there will be a press conference with Mike Norvell and the coaching staff. So we'll have that video up on YouTube here, which is totally free. Hit the thumbs up, everybody. Again, we really would appreciate it. Michael, you tell them to hit the thumbs up. It means more when it comes from you.
Hit the thumbs up, guys. That's the only request I ask when I'm on these chats. That's the only thing. Just hit the like button. I know it sounds very small, but it's very big to us because it helps promote what we're doing.
So yeah, 8 to 12 o'clock live, 8 a.m. Eastern time till noon. We'll be live. Again, Tom Lang, myself, Michael Langston, letting you know what's going on as the NLIs start filtering in over to the Moore Center. And then later on in the afternoon, Norvell coaches will talk about it. We'll get that up on the website as well as our YouTube channel. Again, please hit the thumbs up. Stay connected to warchant.com. Thanks to everybody who asked a question. We try to get to as many as we possibly can, but some take longer than others. And then there's generous people that cut to the front of the line. Guys like Ken, thank you. Joel Davis, man. ATL Noles, Miss Sandra Gordon, Dane Jensen, Stephen Batane, Batten. Still got it wrong, Stephen. Hope you're out there listening, though. Anthony Galloway, Gator Kirk, Dane Jansen, Brandon Walker, Tom Ortner, Ed Lemmix, Rob Rathbun, Ray Pereira. There was more, but my computer is not all that great on this machine here. My guy Jeff Larson started us off. Yeah. Get down or lay down. Our guy Kyle. And Papa Sanders and traditional. Remember traditional? No. All right, I'm done. I can't talk anymore, Michael. But we're gonna have to talk you and I do something for the podcast. So, thank everybody for me, Michael. I'm gonna stop talking. Say thanks, please.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Certainly, we'll be here all day tomorrow. We'll cover everything. We'll be right here for you, and let's get this thing done and get it wrapped up.
We're not done. We're not going home. We're not gonna go anywhere. What?
Big ballin', smashing, making my end.
Slinger Nole Nation drops 200 American. I'm going to pull up my chair, Michael. I don't know if we're going anywhere, but I'm pulling up my chair here because I don't think we're going to be going anywhere for a while. $200. What are you doing, Slinger? We're going to go home free and clear, and you're going to have $200 extra in your pocket this holiday season. Incredible, man. I'm just glad I'm here to hang out, Michael. This is all you. I just get to poach. I'm just like I'm Joe Surratt. You're doing all the hard work between the 20s, and then I just get to come in here and Slinger, ask something, do something, man. I can't just say goodbye. Ed Bagley, by the way, points out that Auburn is only 158 miles from Pleasant Home, which is where Keldrick is from. FSU is 168 miles. I don't know if that's right. I looked it up. I thought it was only an hour. He's from Highland Home.
Right.
Not Pleasant Home. Highland Home. Highland Home is an hour and a half away from Auburn. It's 3.5 hours away from Tallahassee, Ed. Pretty sure. We're not doing geography class, but we're gonna hang out for. I don't know. I'm just gonna pull up Slinger again there, Michael. Michael's hungry, y'all. But we're gonna. I don't know. We'll take another question or two, just because. I don't know, man. I can't just. Our guy Sage has been here the whole night, and he asked us for a second time. Do you have a quick favorite South Florida kid recruiting story you want to wax poetic on?
I don't think it's like that's a recruiting story. I think one with Dalvin Cook. I had a great memory with that, and I remember being over there and went to South Florida, and this was like when he was getting ready to flip to FSU, and he's like, it was kind of like, yeah, I'm ready. It's kind of like, it was just funny, just like he was so calm about it, but it was just like everyone else, like when they did the flip commitment, they did like, they did a very detailed video, and hey, I'm flipping here, and they did it at the game. And I think Dalvin just didn't want to do it that way. I think he just wanted to do like a quick video, and so he did it like a day before the game, and it's like, hey, I'm flipping. So it's just cool. I mean, it's just some things you get with South Florida kids, just like it's up and down.
All right,
but nothing really like crazy or elaborate or nothing. I would say my funniest stories were most in the Big Ben. I think there's a lot of funny stories of just how things you ended up with guys ended up at Florida State, but I don't think there's too many crazy stories.
All right. Joshua People says he's going to go make dinner tonight now. Good night, boys.
There you go.
Jim Kelly wonders about Roscoe Hootentanner and Spudley Do-Right. I don't think they're takes this cycle. Michael. I don't know about you, but I know who is a take. Slinger Nation. Slinger Nation with just an absolute Michael Snare buzzer beater there.
Yep.
Incredible.
Thank
All
you,
right.
buddy.
And he comes back 5 minutes later and finally says something, and it's just appreciate you guys. Merry Christmas, man. That's
thank you, buddy.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, all you for watching us here live on YouTube tonight. Again, we'll be live 8 a.m. till noon tomorrow. Michael Langston, myself, Tom Lang. Thanks, everybody. Stop arguing about Travis Hunter in the comments, everybody. Go home and hang out with your wife and kids. Have fun. They're arguing about why you guys arguing about Travis Hunter. Knock it off.
Yep.
We're out of here. Michael, good night.